So you're picking a WordPress host. Seems like a simple tech choice, right? But it's not. Not even close. Get this wrong, and you could be locked into years of headaches, crazy costs, and just pure frustration. It's a huge deal. So, how do you actually make the right call? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now. All right, here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about why this is such a high stakes decision. Then, we'll meet the three main players in this space. After that, we'll dive into the big trade-offs, what you gain and what you lose with each. We'll even look at how it affects your developer's actual day-to-day workflow. And by the end, you'll know exactly which one is the perfect fit for you and your team. Yeah, and I really want to drive this home. We are talking about way more than just servers and code. The choice you make here, it's going to dictate your budget for sure, but it also controls how fast your team can actually ship new features and innovate. And maybe most importantly, can you even handle success when it comes? Can you scale? This decision is truly the foundation of your entire web operation. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's meet our three contenders. And what's cool is that each one represents a completely different philosophy, a different way of thinking about how to run a website. Are you all about managed simplicity, or do you want the raw DIY power? Or is there a third way, a kind of automated ownership? Let's find out. First up, we've got Pantheon. The best way to think about Pantheon, it's like the all-inclusive resort of web hosting. You check in, and everything is taken care of for you. All the messy, complicated infrastructure stuff, poof, it's handled. This is really built for teams that just want to focus on one thing, building amazing websites, not wrestling with servers. And then, in the complete opposite corner, you've got manual AWS. This is the ultimate DIY powerhouse. I mean, they literally hand you the keys to the entire Amazon Web Services kingdom. You can build anything you can dream of exactly how you want it. But, and this is a big but, with all that power comes all the responsibility. You're the one in charge of absolutely everything, from security patches to backups. It's all on you. So that brings us to our third contender, AWS with DevPanel. And this one is interesting. It's the hybrid approach. Think of it like an automation engine. It goes into your own AWS account and builds and manages a pro-level WordPress setup for you. So you get all the power and ownership that comes with AWS, but you get to skip the massive headache of setting it all up and maintaining it by hand. Kind of the best of both worlds, right? Okay, so now we know the players. Let's get to the real meat of the discussion, the trade-offs. Because, let's be honest, every single hosting decision is a balancing act. It's always this triangle of control versus simplicity versus cost. You can't have it all. So let's see how each of our contenders handles this balancing act. All right, take a look at this. This chart really shows you the day-to-day effort, the operational burden. On one end, you have Pantheon, super low. They take care of pretty much everything. Then, way over on the other end, manual AWS. The burden there is sky high. You're going to need dedicated DevOps people for that. And right in the middle, you see AWS with DevPanel. The goal there is to use automation to get that burden way down, almost to the level of a managed platform, even though you're the one who owns all the infrastructure. Now let's flip the coin and talk about flexibility and customization. With Pantheon, because everything is so managed in their containers, it's pretty restrictive by design, so flexibility is low. Manual AWS, the complete opposite. You have total, absolute freedom to do whatever you want. And DevPanel, it tries to find that sweet spot. It gives you really high flexibility because at the end of the day, it's your AWS account, and you can still go in and customize the infrastructure that it's automating for you. Okay, this next one is a biggie, especially for long-term planning. We're talking about vendor lock-in. With Pantheon, that risk is pretty high. Your site is fundamentally tied to their proprietary platform. Moving away can be a real pain. But look at manual AWS and AWS with DevPanel. Zero lock-in. Why? Because in both cases, the infrastructure lives in your cloud account. You own it. End of story. You can walk away anytime. So we've talked a lot about infrastructure, but what about the people actually building the site? Let's switch gears and dive into the developer workflow. Because let's face it, the platform you choose can either be a massive accelerator for your team or can grind their productivity to a complete halt. So Pantheon's workflow is super structured. It's a one-way street. Your code moves from a dev environment, then to a test environment, and finally to live. That's it. You are literally blocked from pushing code changes directly to test or live. Now, for some modern dev teams, that can feel, well, a little restrictive. But there's a good reason for it. This whole setup is designed for maximum stability. It prevents those oops moments and accidental changes on your live site. So if safety and stability are your absolute top priorities, this is a huge plus. So how does that compare? Well, with manual AWS, you've got to build that entire system yourself. You have to create and maintain your own CI/CD pipelines from scratch. It's a ton of work and requires serious DevOps skills. DevPanel, on the other hand, just gives it to you. A fully automated, modern Git-based workflow is set up for you, right out of the box. That's a huge difference in setup time and effort. And when I say modern workflow, I mean it's a total game changer for developers. Just imagine this. One of your devs pushes a new Git branch to work on a feature. Boom. A complete live preview environment is automatically created just for that branch. How cool is that? Throw in things like a code editor that runs right in your browser and one-click tools to sync your database and files. You're talking about a massive, massive boost to productivity. And look, this isn't just some theory. This is real-world stuff. Take the American Medical Association, for example. After they adopted this kind of automated workflow with DevPanel, they saw such a huge jump in efficiency that they went from needing a whole team of people down to just one single person, managing more than 30 of their websites. I mean, that's just a crazy, powerful testament to what automation can do. Okay, let's talk about the moment everyone dreads. Your site is down. It's 3 a.m. Who do you call? This is a really critical difference. With Pantheon, their support will help you with their platform, but if the problem is in your WordPress code, you're on your own. With AWS, they'll help you with their services, like if a server is down, but if a bad plugin broke your site, again, that's your problem. DevPanel is really different here. They support both, the application and the infrastructure. They have WordPress experts who can, with your permission, actually go in and help fix the problem. That's a huge safety net. All right, we've gone through the trade-offs, we've looked at the workflows. Now for the fun part. Let's put it all together and figure out which of these contenders is the absolute best fit for your team. So if you run a digital agency, listen up. The recommendation here is pretty clear. AWS with DevPanel. Why? Because you can create site templates, which means you can spin up a new client site in literally minutes. Plus, the billing is totally transparent because it comes straight from AWS, making it super easy to pass those costs along to your clients. It's like it was designed specifically to solve the biggest headaches that agencies face. What if you're a big enterprise? Well, here it really comes down to your internal team. If your goal is operational efficiency, getting more done with less, then DevPanel is your best bet. But if you already have a big, experienced DevOps team in-house, and you absolutely need that granular, down-to-the-metal control for things like compliance or a super custom architecture, then going with a manual AWS setup makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's talk about startups, where every single dollar counts. The winner here is AWS with DevPanel again. The reason is simple. You only pay for the AWS resources you actually consume. There are no high platform fees on top. So you get this professional, enterprise-grade workflow, but at an infrastructure-only cost. Plus, you avoid that dreaded vendor lock-in, which is huge for a growing company. So does that mean Pantheon is never the right choice? Absolutely not. There's a perfect use case for it. If your number one top priority is just dead simple, maximum simplicity, if you have minimal tech staff and you just want predictable, stable costs every month, then Pantheon is the clear winner. Its totally hands-off approach is just unmatched if you want to offload all that infrastructure worry. It is, without a doubt, the most straightforward way to get a site up and running. And there you have it, the whole breakdown. We've looked at all the angles, so now you know the real trade-offs. The choice is yours. Are you going to go for that managed simplicity? Do you want total hands-on control? Or are you ready for this newer model of automated ownership? The right answer really depends on you.